Okay, guys, welcome back here. I just had to switch the cameras, but unfortunately, YouTube does not allow me to switch a camera, or if it does, I don't know how to do it. So I just decided to go ahead and restart a new stream, and leave a monologue there for you guys, and not a problem. So first things first. Let's take a look at let's review the season, shall we? Let's review the season. Where should we start? I guess we should start at the beginning. Yep, I'm still here. So let's see. Let's review the season. I guess we'll start at the beginning. Let's have a look at some of the best games, maybe some of the games that were played for this. And let's see what we got to find. I got to find the start here. Let's see here. Here we go. There you go. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at the scoreboard here. Take a look at the scorebook. So here is the why is it I can never find anything I want when I need it? So here we go. Take a look here. There's opening day of 1985. We had Cleveland taking on Detroit and Toronto taking on Kansas City. The only reasons why we went with the only reason why we started this because you guys wanted me to do the Detroit Tigers because they won the 1984 season. So because they won the 1984 season, you guys wanted me to do with Detroit. So we went with that. And oh boy, I can't believe this. I lose more pens that way. All right. Whatever. So we started with Cleveland and Detroit. We had Toronto and Kansas City. Had a pretty, Cleveland beat the Tigers their first game, and of course the Indians never made it to the playoffs. They finished in last place. Toronto beat Kansas City. Let's have a look and see. Here's Yankees in Boston. First time we did the Yankees in Boston. The Red Sox destroyed the Yankees 13-8, 21. Now, this is payoff pitch games, though, not inside pitch. This is payoff pitch games right here. So some of these games were kind of nuts. Let's see here. My Mets got a win. They beat the Reds. Here's the Astros. They shut out the Dodgers 1-0. Let's see if we can find California crushing Seattle 11-6. Now, this is payoff pitch, not inside pitch. We didn't start inside pitch until later. I think about August, I think, is when we started doing the inside pitch games. Let's see. San Francisco, Pittsburgh. This went 14 innings in payoff pitch. Pittsburgh over San Francisco 5-4. That went 14 innings. Yankees beat Minnesota in the regular season. Of course, they would play each other in the World Series. Philadelphia beat the Mets. For some reason, and this was the game that Dwight Gooden got tossed out of. Dwight Gooden got tossed in that game. This was supposed to be the big game here. Carlton and Gooden. That was supposed to be the big game, and Gooden got ejected for throwing a bad pitch. Here you go, Texas and Detroit, 11-10. Detroit almost came back in the bottom of the ninth. Close game there. Then Detroit clobbered the Twins 9-1. Most of these games really weren't that close. The one thing that started discouraging me a little bit on payoff pitch was the amount of walks and pop-ups. There were just too many bases on balls. I was having a little bit of issue with too many walks and too many bases on balls. I just felt pitchers would not be that bad when it came to control. I was getting a little bit disappointed in the control. Here you go. Cincinnati clobbers St. Louis 14-2 in that game. Reds couldn't do no wrong in that game right there. That was in May. Yankees 12, California 11. Couple of good a good matchup there. And then we got to skip ahead to here. Let's see, Pittsburgh, Boston over Baltimore, 11-7. That was remember this game in payoff pitch. The Boston Red Sox scored 8 runs in the top of the 9th inning. This was the Len Cicada game. This was the Len Cicada game. Len Cicada, the Orioles made 2 errors in the 9th inning and allowed the Red Sox to get 8 runs in that inning to win the game 11-7. I mean that's one of the game. That was a nominee for Game of the Year. That was a nominee for one right there. That was a nominee. That's a Game of the Year nominee. Baltimore over Milwaukee, 17-6. 17-6. This is another nominee because the amount of runs the Orioles put on the Brewers, 17 runs on 21 hits. I mean, that was a crazy game. Yankees punishing Baltimore 12-2 in a game we played in June. And the Mariners crushing the White Sox 12-2. You know, I look at some of the blowouts here that were played in payoff pitch and inside pitch. The inside pitch games seem to be a little closer, I think. But we had our share of blowouts, though. We had our share of blowouts. Here's the All-Star game. The All-Star game was a total blowout in payoff pitch. 11-2 National League at the Metrodome. So, you know, the 85 All-Star game, this was a complete blowout. American League had nothing on the National League. National League totally destroyed them. You know, so we had some crazy games here. Boston over Oakland 9-8. The Oakland Athletics scored 5 runs in the top of the 9th, almost came back to tie that game up. Philadelphia over the Cardinals 8-1 in a blowout. And you can tell I'm still doing payoff pitch. The way you can still tell payoff pitch is I have the range as a letter, because in inside pitch the ranges are numbers. Los Angeles, Cincinnati, a 1-0 game. Don't get many of those. That's actually this game right here, the game between Cincinnati and the Dodgers. This is the first game of inside pitch for this season. That's the first game of inside pitch. So you can tell because I have the ranges and ranges as numbers now, no longer letters. So that was the first game of inside pitch. Had a couple of close matchups here. Toronto shutting out Kansas City. And you can see how I do my score sheets. They're very simple to make. It takes me less than 5 minutes to make the score sheet. So I don't have to waste ink printing score sheets from the actual. I don't need to do that. I get my information from Baseball Reference. 9-5, Dolly Parton. Extra inning matchup, Cardinals and Reds. In August. How do I mark special games? I don't really. I just look at the scores and see what happened, the innings and such. I mean, here's a crazy game play. Remember this one, Steeler fan, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Houston Astros. I mean, the Astrodome only gave up 94 home runs that year total, and I think we got 10% of those home runs in this one game. That's a nominee for Game of the Year. That was the 12-11, and they had. Let me see. They had the Pirates had 2 home runs, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 4 home runs for the Astros in this game. This game had a total of 6 home runs. in a stadium that was not supposed to be home run friendly. So I remember this game here, 12-11. And the Astros committed 3 errors and still won this game. And the White Sox shut Minnesota out. Here's another crazy matchup: the Blue Jays and the Yankees. This one went 13 innings. That went 13 innings with the Yankees winning it 3-1. Trust me, making these are so much easier. And the only thing I'm wasting is ink. I just don't think I need to print out a paper. Here you go. Cardinals and Phillies, 12-5. Cardinals just were all over Philadelphia in that matchup. 2 errors for the Phillies. Philadelphia. My Mets, for some reason, just never really were that good in this. I don't know why. I don't know. For some reason, I tell you, my Mets should have beaten the Reds in that National League wild card playoff. Should have beaten them. But nope, that's not how the dice went. Let's see. Oh, I never did the line score for this. That's interesting. Let's find out. Let's see. Let's see here. 4. This one was a 4-2 win for the Dodgers of the Astros. 1, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. Looks like the Astros had 2 errors. The Dodgers had none. There you go. 4-2 win. Longest extra inning games of the season, I believe, was that 14-inning game I think I just did. That 14-inning game, I think that I did. I think that was the longest game we had. Or it may have been that playoff game. I'll check it. See, here's another 14-inning game. Cardinals in Montreal. This was not the playoff game. This was the regular season game. The Cardinals won this game 6-3. 32 hits total in the game. 32 hits. The dice went nuts in this one. 32 hits. And yet only 9 runs combined. Then we started playing. Then we had the Brewers trying to get. Then we had the final week of the season. The last couple of days. California, Kansas City, Cincinnati, San Diego. Trying to get into this here. Mets had to beat the Expos in order to get into the playoffs. Yankees crushed the Blue Jays. Then Kansas City beat Oakland. Then on the last day of the season, with the Mets beating Montreal and with the help from FastScore, the Mets got to clinch the last play, the 5 seed, with the Phillies losing both games to Philly and beating the Expos. They went into the playoffs. California beat Texas, and that went ahead and got them into the American League playoffs. So here we are, Seattle. They crushed California 8-1 in the American League wild card playoff. They just crushed them 8-1. I mean, really, California was awful in that game. And my Mets, I'll tell you, Phil, I really thought when they got the home run in the bottom of the 9th inning, I thought the Mets were going to win this game. When Gary Carter hit the homer in the bottom of the 9th to tie it, I said, I think my team's going to pull it out. But nope. Unfortunately, Terry Leach picked up the loss. I brought him in thinking he could do the job. He did not. So Leach gave up the runs to the Reds. 3 straight singles to score Isaski in the top of the 11th. And the Reds win that game, beat my Mets 2-1. So, I really thought my Mets were going to pull that out. Seattle and Boston. When Seattle won the first game, I was shocked. I didn't think a lot. I'll tell you the truth, guys. A lot of the teams I thought were going to win it all didn't. A lot of teams that I thought were going to win it all didn't. I was really surprised that the Astros really won the World Series. I am really surprised the way the dice went their way. Then Cincinnati beats the Astros the first game, 6-3, and I said, oh no, Steeler fans going to go nuts. He's all saying it's rigged. And then the Astros pull off a 9-game winning streak. They sweep the Reds. They shut the Reds out. 7-0 in Game 2 of that NLWCS. And then Boston gets 2 runs in the bottom of the ninth. This was it right here. This is another Game of the Year nominee. This Seattle-Boston game. The Mariners were what? The Mariners were like, 2 outs, were 3 outs away from going to the American League Division Series. They were 2 outs away from knocking the Red Sox out. Remember this one here? And then the Red Sox get single strikeout double, which clears the bases, and they win the game in the bottom of the ninth, and then Boston beats the Mariners 3-1 in Game 3 to win the wild card series. When you do doubleheaders, I like inside pitch. I just like it. I just like inside pitch a little more. But amazing how this game went and totally turned around that game right there. That's a Game of the Year nominee. Cincinnati, then Houston goes ahead and beats the Reds, knocks them out. As Ryan picked up the win and Smith picked up his first save. That's why I give Dave Smith kind of a pitching MVP. He had 7 saves. Toronto, Minnesota. I was very disappointed at how the Blue Jays did in the series against Minnesota. Toronto should have beaten Minnesota. The Blue Jays were the better team. I was very disappointed in the Blue Jays. Very disappointed. Montreal going in their series against the Cardinals. Yankees going ahead, them beginning their series against the Red Sox. I actually did think the Yankees are going to win that. Then the Astros go ahead and pull out the win, start sweeping the Dodgers. Montreal shuts the Cardinals out 4-0, and I thought it was over. I thought this series was over right here. I said, no, there's no way. There's no way. Toronto here, there was no way. And then I really thought that series was over. Now, and then Boston, the Yankees. Boston wins a game over the Yankees and ties that series up. And then again, Blue Jays just really, Toronto just didn't have it. They really didn't. They did not swing the bat well at all. Dice just really didn't go their way. But there's the game right there. And I know I've given some nominees, but this is definitely the Game of the Year. I know we've given some nominees, but that's the Game of the Year. Game 3, National League Division Series, Montreal Expos versus the St. Louis Cardinals. Expos up 2-0. All they got to do is beat the Cardinals and move on to the National League Championship Series. This is the Game of the Year. That's the Game of the Year. It went 12 innings, and the Expos, if you look at this here, the Expos were up 7-2. They were 3, 4, 6, 7. They were up 7-2 here. Going into the bottom of the 5th, the Cardinals looked like they were dead. They looked like they were dead. And then they scored 2 runs in the bottom of the 5th and then 5 runs in the 6th. When that happened, I said, OMG. And the Cardinals had a 9-7 lead going in the top of the 9th, but the Expos get 2 runs in the top of the 9th to send the game into extra innings. And I said, oh boy. Then we go 0-0, and then the 12th inning, this may be the best inning I've ever played, craziest inning I've ever played in inside pitch, where the Expos scored 3 runs in the top of the 12th, but the Cardinals score 4 runs in the bottom of the 12th to win that game 13-12, a total of 34 hits in that game. I went through the entire Cardinal pitching line. I was about ready to bring in a starter, but Perry came in and got the win. I did not use the Cardinal bullpen well. The Expos did. They still had pitchers available. The Cardinals pitchers available. Cardinals didn't. Had an ejection in the game. I had to bring a pitcher in to play second base. This is the Game of the Year right here. That's the Game of the Year. Game of the year. That's it right there. That's the 1985 Game of the Year, National League Division Series, Game 3, Expos and Cardinals. Because after the Cardinals won this game, Montreal was totally out of it. It's almost like the dice kind of went the way of the momentum. It's kind of like they did. It's kind of like they went the way of the momentum. So, and the Yankees take out the Red Sox. The Astros sweep the Dodgers out. Then the Cardinals win Game 4, 10-6. And Minnesota beats Toronto, knocks them out. And then the Yankees beat the Red Sox 10-7, and it moves the Yankees into the championship series. And then the last game of that division series, you lost 13-12, you lost 10-6. Then the Cardinals obliterate you in Game 5 of the NLDS, 10-1. 10-1. John Tudor pitches a gem. Nobody could do anything for the Expos in that game, and allows the Cardinals, who were down by 5 runs halfway through Game 3, and they come back and win the NLDS. This is crazy. Did we have any injuries? There was only one. There was Tom Brunansky got hurt a couple of times against the Yankees in the championship series, but he was only out for the game. Mike Pagliarulo for the Yankees was hurt in Game 2 of the NLDS against the Twins, and he was out for the year. And that allowed me to bring in Andre Robertson to play third base. And although Robertson's the better hitter between the two, but Robertson's, that error rating of 20 definitely cost the Yankees a couple of outs. So, then the Cardinals and the Astros. And the Astros blow the Cardinals up 9-5 in Game 1. And the Twins gave the Yankees a tough game in Game 1, but the Yankees pulled it out. And then the Twins again, 2-1, then 2-1, same score, but Minnesota went ahead here and tied the series up. Then 2-1, Houston over the Cardinals. And then 2-1 again, Houston over the Cardinals, after scoring all those runs against the Expos, because they scored 33 runs in 3 games. After that series, the Cardinals scored 5, 6, 7, 11. They scored 11 runs in the last 4 games against the Astros. 33 runs, and then the Astros shut them down. And then the Yankees, I really didn't think Minnesota had anything for the Yankees. The Minnesota Twins only got into the playoffs, mostly really because of quick results. They really should not have been there. And that's another reason why I'm not using quick results chart anymore. A little too random. The FastScore chart by Replay Sports, a little bit more realistic and true to life. So teams that should be there at the end will be. It's okay to have a team surprise, but really you want the best teams in there, and really the Twins in 1985 really were not that good. I think if the Yankees had played the Royals or maybe the Angels or maybe the Athletics, may have been a better series for the Yankees, but Minnesota, I just felt, didn't really have it. And then of course the World Series. So the Yankees shut the Astros out 4-0 in Game 1. Then after that, Yankee hitting went totally bye-bye. I mean, really bye-bye. And they couldn't, and they started getting hit by the error bug. Game 2, the Astros pummeled the Yankees 11-3. They pummeled them. Yeah, Toronto was the best team in the American League in 1985. And even they didn't make it to the World Series. The Royals won that. So, like I said, um, you know, here the Astros blow the Yankees up. Then the Astros beat them again, 9-6. They score all these runs. Yankee pitching wasn't that great. It really wasn't. And then Houston beats the Astros 6-2 in Game 3. Heathcock was good. Whitson really didn't have it much. Yankees starting pitching in 1985 was serviceable. It was not great. It was not great. And then, of course, last night, final line score. Astros, World Series champs. They beat the Yankees last night 3-2 on an RBI double by Glenn Davis. And although Bob, you made a comment last night. Made a comment that why don't you walk Davis? There was a reason why I didn't walk Davis. Davis would have given the Yankees a good double play chance. If Glenn Davis hits a ground out with the infield back, it was an automatic double play. The next batter is Mark Bailey. Mark Bailey's double play rating is a 2. He didn't hit into many double plays. So then in that case, all right, they may not have turned the double play. They would have had to play the infield in. And with the game already tied, I would have sent the runner on third to see if he can win the game. You got to take a chance. It was only one out. So you would have sent the runner. So you got to pitch to Davis, and Davis hit the double, but it didn't matter. He would have hit that off a right-handed pitcher, and he would have hit that. He did crush lefties. He did. You're absolutely right. He did crush lefties. He had a better rec. His card favored against left-handed pitching than right-handed pitching. That's why, of course, Davis was automatically in the lineup because Guidry was the starter. But even if it was a right-hander on the mound, the result was a D7, and it was a plain D7. So we would have hit that off of any pitcher. It wouldn't have mattered who was on the mound. Davis great hitting, good pit. Let me tell you, great pitching always beats great hitting, but great hitting always beats good pitching, always. So Davis hits the RBI double, and was actually an error chance. It was actually a chance on an error, but because it was a double and it automatically scored the run at third, the error was meaningless. So I didn't have to check anymore. So congratulations to the Houston Astros winning the championship after getting no hit by Bill Swift in my 1994 season restart of Payoff Pitch. And Steeler fans still, Steeler fan, is not forgiven, has not forgiven Bill Swift. I guess he'll hate him. I guess he'll hate him for the rest of his career, for the rest of his life. I don't know. Poor Bill Swift. He never did anything to Steeler fan. So there is your 1985 season review. Next page is blank, but I don't have enough pages in here for the next season, so I'm gonna have to get another book, which I have. I think I have another. Now I'm gonna have to get a new book for the next season, I think, and keep this for something else. So that's it here. So that's the review. I'm going to go get a drink. I'll be right back, and I will go ahead and do the reveal. Give me one moment. Next time. Yeah, there will be. I'll do it again. Okay. It's good to see everybody in your. Good to see everybody in the chat. So, about 5 days ago, we had our season selection show. And I gave you guys choices of which seasons to choose. And let me just bring something up here for me. Because, of course, I already know who won, but I want to get to that season real quick. Who won it? All right. So, let's take a look and see. So, you had your choices between 1956, 1976, 1978, 2008, and 2017. These were your choices to go with. And this is the choices to go to. Now, remember, I took all of your votes, all right, from the comments. I also took some votes from the Facebook page that I also put that vote on. And there were a couple of votes made from the Inside Pitch forum that I checked. One guy actually wanted to choose a season. So I went ahead and I put a comment on the vote on that video so that I wouldn't forget he voted for it, and then I hearted it to show that I accepted the vote. Somebody voted for 1964. It wasn't even a choice, so I don't know where he got 1964 from. And plus, Inside Pitch doesn't even have the 1964 season. So, I was a little bit. So I was actually kind of surprised a little bit on the choice. I was a little kind of surprised that. I'm sorry, it does have 1964, but maybe I guess he didn't. Maybe he just didn't watch the whole stream. But okay, starting April 5th. What will be the season that we will do? Well, receiving only 2 votes. And I am not surprised because for some reason, nobody here likes modern day baseball. And I love modern day baseball. So, so nobody wanted modern day baseball. So only receiving 2 votes is 2017. 2017 goes bye-bye. So there won't be any trash can banging there, Steeler fan, even though the Astros, maybe we're banging a few trash cans in the World Series, possibly. I don't know. I may have to check. I may have to check the replay to see if there were any trash cans or buzzers that were being done in 85. I'll have to check the replay. Have to make sure. Not certain. Receiving only 3 votes. And I'm a little surprised they only got 3 votes for this season. I was a little shocked. I thought maybe a lot of people would like to have a little old school in their midst. A little old school. But there will be no Roberto Clemente. There will be no Jackie Robinson, no Pee Wee Reese, no Willie Mays, no Hank Aaron. As 1956 only received 3 votes, and they are gone. So better luck next time, 1956. So no old school baseball. That leaves 76, 78, and 2008. This was a tight race between these 3, actually. Believe it or not, it was pretty tight between these 3 seasons. I was a little surprised that the next season got a good amount of love, but unfortunately, not enough. With only 8 votes by people, the 2008 season is gone. 2008 does not get it, so there'll be no modern-day baseball at all, as the 2000s do not get respect this time. So 2008 was gone, but it got 8 votes. It's a lot of people had no problem with the 2008 season. That would have been a good, I think that would have been a fun season to play. So now we have the last 2 seasons. One season received 10 votes. The other season received 12 votes. This was close between these two, and I'm not surprised that these were the 2 seasons that a lot of people wanted to see. So, and I'm like I said, I was not surprised these 2 seasons were the ones of choice. But one season received 10 votes and one season received 12. Therefore, coming in second place with 10 votes was 1978. So there is your season. Starting April 5th, we go back 9 years. We go back in time 9 more years to the big red machine, to Johnny Bench, Tony Perez, Dave Concepcion, Joe Morgan. We go back in time to a young Ron Guidry, Catfish Hunter, Reggie Jackson on the Athletics, though, not the Yankees. We get to see hitters such as a young Bill Madlock, Ken Griffey, a younger Pete Rose, Steve Garvey, Dave Parker, Bob Watson, Cesar Geronimo, George Foster, Lou Brock. We get to see hitters such as Dave Concepcion, a young Dave Winfield, only this time on the Padres. We get to see some pretty good hitters there. And on the American League, we get to see a young George Brett at 23 years old, Hal McRae, a pretty much in his prime Rod Carew, Lyman Bostock, Fred Lynn, Mick the Quick, Mickey Rivers, Thurman Munson, Rusty Staub. We get to see Mike Hargrove, the human rain delay. Reggie Jackson, of course, not on the A's, I'm sorry. Reggie Jackson on the Orioles, my bad. He was on Baltimore in 1976. We get to see those guys. We get to see those guys hit. And then on the mound on those days. In 1976, in the American League, you get to see the Bird, Mark Fidrich. And I know for a fact that David Baseball Demos, I'm pretty sure, will turn into those games. We'll turn into those games to watch. You get Vita Blue, Frank Tanana, Mike Torres, Jim Palmer, Wayne Garland, a young Burt Blyleven. Get some pretty good pitchers in the American League. And in the National League, you get John Denny, who had the lowest ERA, but not by much, Doug Rao, and yep, I still get to see Tom Seaver. Tom Seaver is on the Mets that whole year. He had a decent year. He was 14-11 with a 2.59 ERA, but that was Jerry Koosman's year for the Mets that time. Pat Zachary, Randy Jones, and of course, Steeler fan. I'm pretty sure Steeler fan will love to see J.R. Richard for the Astros. I'm sure he'll see J.R. Richard for the Astros. John Matlack for the Mets. We'll talk Tommy John, Jim Lonborg, a younger Don Sutton. We get to see some pretty good teams. And what about the teams? Well, let's take a look at the teams. The best teams in the National League, the Philadelphia Phillies, won the National League East with 101 wins. The Pittsburgh Pirates were pretty good. They were 92-70. The Mets didn't stink either. They were 86-76. 76 Mets were pretty darn good, had a heck of a pitching staff. They just couldn't hit out their way of a paper bag. Cincinnati Reds were the best team in the National League West. They had 102 wins. The Dodgers were good, and the Astros were finished under 500. But remember, in my playoffs, I still take the top 3 teams in each division. So the top 3 teams can have a chance to still get in there as we still increase the amount of playoff teams. So since we're going back from 85 to 1976, all right, we get to still do my major playoff format. The teams with the in the National League, the best hitting team in baseball in the National League was the Cincinnati Reds. They had the best team in baseball overall. The Twins had the best batting average in the National League. In the American League. They had the best batting average in the American League. Pitching, however, different. Best team with the best ERA in baseball was, believe it or not, the Mets. In 1976, the Mets had the best pitching staff in baseball. But why didn't they win anything? Because their hitting was awful. The team with the best pitching staff in the American League, the New York Yankees. So both New York teams had the best pitching staffs in their respective leagues. The Dodgers were in top 5. The Phillies were top 5. The Royals top 5. So that's who you can expect. That's who you can expect to see. That's who you can expect to see in in the 76 season. So 1976 is going to be the season. So it's all about the Big Red Machine. But Yastrzemski, yes, for the Bo Sox. The Red Sox were not in the American League. The Red Sox were not bad. They were in the top 3 in the division. It was Yankees, Orioles, Red Sox, and Indians. They were the top 4 teams in the American League East. In the American League West, the Royals, Athletics, and the Twins were the top 3 teams in that division. And remember, this is 1976. No Mariners and no Blue Jays. 1977 was the first year for those 2 franchises. So no Seattle Mariners and no Toronto Blue Jays this time. So we don't have those 2 franchises. They will not be represented for 1976. So we'll see how the quick fast score goes for those for that season. I have to print out the entire fast score schedule because we'll be utilizing it. We will still do 1976 the same way I did. Yeah, 1994 minus 9 is 1985, minus 9 is 1976. Exactly. Yep, it's again 9 years backwards. Amazing how that turned out. Again, 9 years and then 9 years. Yep, I don't know. That's just what you guys wanted to see. You guys, most of you guys voted for 76, and that's the season you're going to get. Jim Umbarger for the Rangers. See Nolan Ryan. Oh, yeah, you'll see Nolan Ryan. Don't worry, you'll see him. I'm pretty sure the schedule will come up a few games where he's in there. So, I'm pretty sure you'll see what'll be then. Great, then 1967 next. Well, Tim, I don't know. There'll be another season selection show approaching the 76 World Series, so we'll see what seasons come available for that. But that's going to be in at least 3.5 months' time. I can give you the schedule at least for opening day. On opening day, there were only 2 games played, and opening day in 1976 was April 8th. So we're going to start April 5th, actually. And believe it or not, there's going to be an opening day for that year. We actually get to see the Houston Astros get their rings, because on opening day on April 8th, 1976, the Houston Astros took on the Cincinnati Reds, and the New York Yankees played the Milwaukee Brewers. So, and I know you guys would like a doubleheader. I don't think I'm going to do it this time, because now that I am working, all right, I don't want to overdo myself when I get home at night. So, but we still have, on days that I'm off, I'll probably do a game in the morning and a game at night. But on days during the week, I'm probably just going to do one game. So I can already tell you that opening day will be Thursday, the actual opening day will be April 5th, but the opening day games for 76 will be April 8th, and I'm going to do the Houston Astros taking on the Cincinnati Reds. That will be the game where actually both teams get rings. Both teams will get rings that game. We'll do Houston and Cincinnati for April 8th, 1976, and both teams get rings. The Reds get rings for winning the 1975 championship, and then the Astros get rings for winning the 1985 championship. Although there's only one I already checked the roster for the Astros in 1976. There's only one player on that roster that actually gets a ring with the 85 Astros, and that is Jose Cruz. Jose Cruz is the only player for the Astros who actually gets a ring. Nobody else on that team in 76 does, except for Cruz. He was with the Astros all the way through 76, all the way past 85. Jose Cruz is the only one who actually gets a ring. So we're going to give him a ring, and he's going to wonder what it's for, and we'll just tell him you'll find out in 9 years. Jose Cruz is the only player that gets a ring. Remember, Nolan Ryan was not on the Astros in 1976. You had J.R. Richard. You had Larry Dierker, Joaquin Andujar, a young Joaquin Andujar. You had Ken Forsch, a younger Joe Negro. You had them. And of course, you had the Cincinnati Reds. And the Reds historically won that game 11-5. But in the Reds, you had Bench, Perez, Morgan, Concepcion. You had the big red machine. You had one of the best teams in baseball history, the 75 or 76 Reds. Take your choice. Gary Nolan, Pat Zachary, who the Mets traded for in the Midnight Madness the year after. Yeah, right. Let's go ahead and trade Tom Seaver for Pat Zachary. Yeah, all right. Great idea. The closer for the Reds that year was Rawley Eastwick, which I'm pretty sure you guys will know that as Reds fans. Pedro Borbon. You had, I'm pretty sure some of those names. Rawley Eastwick, I'm pretty sure that name rings a bell. Sixto Lezcano, another good baseball name. Yep. So, Cruz doesn't sell the ring, thinking you're nuts for giving it to him. I'm pretty sure he'll hold it. I'm pretty sure he'll hold on to it. So, who else can we look forward to in that season? Let's see here. Let's see. We can also look forward to in that 76 season. Who else we got? We got. Let's see. You got crap. Come back here. Let's see. Who else do you have there? 1976. Oh, Dave Kingman. Dave Kingman, 37. He had 37 here. Dave Kingman had 37 home runs for the Mets that year, but he was not the home run king in 1976. In 1976, the home run king in the National League was a very young, the Michael Jack Schmidt. who I'm pretty sure all you fans out there loved, Michael Jack Schmidt. He led the league in home runs. Leading in RBIs was George Foster. Joe Morgan right behind him, too. May he rest in peace. Somebody mentioned Greg Luzinski. Yep, Luzinski had a heck of a year. He batted .304 that year. Greg Luzinski batted .304 and was top 5 in the National League in RBIs with 95. Greg Luzinski was a beast that season. Somebody mentioned Luzinski. He was a beast. Absolutely. Steve Garvey had a good year that year too. The Penguin Ron Say back on the Dodgers. Johnny Bench belted only 16 home runs that year. Bench actually did not have a great day at the plate, a great year at the plate, but he was great at throwing out base runners. Winfield, Concepcion, Papa Willie Stargell at 36 years old. A young Billy Buckner at 26 with the Dodgers. And in National League pitching, had John Denny, who had the lowest ERA for the Cardinals that year with a 2.52 ERA. Doug Rao was second and Tom Seaver was third. Zachary, J.R. Richard up there. Matlack had a good year. Don Sutton was a 20-game winner. Randy Jones a 20-game winner. J.R. Richard won 20 games. Steve Carlton won 20 games. He was 20-7 with a 3. He was 20-7 with a 3.13 ERA. Give me a minute while I minimize these so I can see the chat here. You know, John Montefusco, yep. Jim Cott was actually not bad, a 3.48 ERA for Jim Cott. Steve Rogers for the Expos had he was 7-17, but he had a 3.21 ERA. Sometimes wins doesn't always mean the pitcher was great. Sometimes he may have a low amount of wins, but his ERA is low. It just shows he really didn't get much run support. Who had a lot of wins that year? Lonborg at 18 wins. John Matlack of the Mets at 17. Who led in saves? Raleigh Eastwick led the league in saves. Skip Lockwood of the Mets was right behind him. Ken Forsch, a Charlie Huff in his prime. You know, Tug McGraw with the Phillies that year. Kent Ticovey was on Pittsburgh. And then we go to the American League. What pitchers can we look forward to the American League? Let's have a look. How about Mark Fidrich, the Bird? The Bird led the league in ERA 2.34, beating out Vita Blue by .01. Frank Tanana, Mike Torres, Jim Palmer, Wayne Garland, Paul Hartzell, Bill Travers, Bert Blyleven, Ed Figueroa, Louis Tiant with the Red Sox, Jim Umbarger, Doc Ellis with the Yankees, Fergie Jenkins with the Red Sox, Dave Goltz for the Twins. There's another good baseball name for you. Dave Goltz. How can you not love a guy with the last name of Goltz? Goltz. Dave Goltz. Gotta love it. Then a very young Dennis Eckersley on Cleveland. He was only 21 years old that year. Dennis Eckersley. Dennis Leonard on the Royals. Catfish Hunter. He was getting up there in years for the Yankees. He was 30, but still had a pretty decent season. Rudy May and a very young Goose Gossage at 24. And in batting, what we have in batting here, in 1976, Greg Nettles led the American League in batting. Sal Bando and Reggie Jackson behind him, followed by George Hendrick, Lee May, Jim Rice, Gene Tennis, Yaz, Tom Grieve, a young Dwight Evans at 24 years old for you Red Sox fans. Thurman Munson was 29 that year for the Yankees. Leading in batting average was George Brett. 23 years old, George Brett batted .333 For the Royals, he had 705 plate appearances. And yet, he was not in every game. Hal McRae right behind him. Rod Carew, Lyman Bostock, Ron LaFleur, Fred Lynn, Mickey Rivers, Rico Carty, Chris Chambliss, Mike Hargrove, Sixto Lezcano, Jim Rice, George Orta, a younger Bobby Grich, Dwayne Kuiper, a very young Butch Weiniger at 20 years old, an older Bert Campaneris. Carlton Fisk was still with the Red Sox. He was 28. And a very young Robin Yount at 20 years old. Robin Yount. A very young Robin Yount. Jim Spencer, John Mayberry, Bruce Bochy. And then, I mean, that's what you had in the American League, you know, for batting. And leading in the league in RBIs was Lee May of the Orioles. Lee May led the American League. Lee May led the American League in RBIs with 109. Thurman Munson and Yastrzemski were right behind him. And Rusty Staub was tied for fourth in RBIs with 96, with Chris Chambliss and Larry Heisel. Rod Carew was still killing the ball that year, too. He was 30 years old with the Twins and still killing it. Cecil Cooper, a young Phil Garner with the Athletics. And, of course, also not to forget as well, Hank Aaron. Henry Aaron. 1976 was Hammer and Hank's last year in baseball. He was 42. Henry Aaron, his last year in baseball. He played in 85 games with the Milwaukee Brewers. Hammer and Hank. That was his last year, too, as well. I don't know. Is he still the home run king to you guys, even though Barry Bonds belted over 770 something because of the steroids? Is Hank Aaron still the home run king? I don't know. I still argue that point sometimes. I understand maybe Barry Bonds, and of course it was never proven that Barry Bonds was on the juice. Was never proven. But, you know, I understand what people think, but you know what? In order to hit a home run, you still have to put your bat on the ball, and you have to hit the ball a certain way in order to get it out. You just can't slap at it. You have to launch it in order to get the ball out of the park. I don't know. Barry Bonds, I understand a lot of people still think Hank Aaron's a home run king, and I'm not going to argue it. I mean, Barry Bonds, you do know that Barry Bonds would probably have over at least 800 home runs or 850 home runs if it wasn't for all the intentional walks that were given to him. He would have over 850 home runs. Ken Griffey Jr. would have smacked over 800 home runs if he wasn't hurt. Going to the Reds was the worst mistake Going to the Reds was horrible for him. Good job, Seattle Mariners. Good job. Yeah, good job. Ken Griffey Jr. would have hit over 800 home runs if he didn't get hurt. If he didn't get hurt, Ken Griffey Jr. has over 800 homers, and he had the best swing in baseball history. I know a lot of people. I mean, I give Darryl Strawberry a very close second on that. I give Darryl Strawberry a very close second. Strawberry had a beautiful home run swing. I mean, before Ken Griffey came around, there was Darryl Strawberry. But the reason why I put Griffey in higher than him is that Griffey, of course, is in the Hall of Fame, and Strawberry was on the juice, and couldn't stay off the crap, and it killed his Hall of Fame chances. I think we're going to be in for a fun season, everyone. I think we're going to be in for a fun season for 1976, America's bicentennial year. 1976. The Big Red Machine. Will the Big Red Machine face off against the Yankees in the World Series one more time? Or will somebody else show up out of nowhere and surprise? Who knows? So opening day will be April 5th of this actual year, and it will be April 8th, 1976. The Houston Astros versus the Cincinnati Reds. And I might as well already tell you what I should have done here real quick. Let me see. The opening day pitchers for that game. The opening day pitchers of that game, Astros and the Reds. It will be J.R. Richard for the Astros against Gary Nolan of the Reds. So J.R. Richard will lead it off for the Astros. They'll take on the Reds on opening day, April 8th, 1976. And that day will be April 5th of this actual year. So J.R. Richard and Gary Nolan. I know Steeler fan will not want to miss J.R. Richard pitching. I'm pretty sure he's not going to want to miss J.R. Richard. Richard had a heck of a year that year. Had a pretty good year that year. A 20-game winner. 20 wins, 15 losses, a 2.75 ERA. And he had 214 strikeouts. So who knows what to expect there. So I know Steeler fan will not want to miss J.R. Richard pitching. I know he won't miss that one. So there you go, everyone. 1976. Bob B., Steeler fan, Tim Pepper. Give him an 85 ring. We'll see what happens. They'll probably all get rings. I just won't know what they're for. But we'll see. Tim Pepper, Bob B., Math, Fun, and Games. Thank you for joining me, by the way. I think it's the first time you've joined me there, Math, Fun, and Games. Philip Reynolds, and good to have you here, by the way. Keith Turnus, D. Shrek, G. Puck. Thank you all for joining me here for the season review and reveal. Please leave a like on your way out through the turnstiles. It'll be most appreciated. And please subscribe if you've not done so to the channel. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay smart, stay strong, and we'll see you soon. We'll stream something. Don't know what before baseball, but we'll probably stream something. And who knows, you might even see a couple of surprises. Thank you all for joining me tonight, guys. 1976 is the next season available. Hope you'll join me then on April 5th. Have a good night, everyone. Take care.